The Maleah Davis case.
Yeah, as the investigation now shifts to another state, Arkansas. A tip from her stepfather leading investigators to Arkansas, where human remains of a child have been found in a trash bag on the side of the interstate. Larry Seward just arrived on scene in Fulton. Larry, what else can you tell us?
Yeah, behind me right now, you'll see Houston police detectives to the right of that pickup truck. Tim Miller from EquiSearch still here. They've been here for some time. If we can pan to the right, I'll show you here in Fulton. That is the Hempstead County Sheriff's Command Center. To its left, there are two tripods in the road, several feet off the road. That is where the bag containing a child's remains were recovered here. It is in the custody of the state police. It is going to be examined by the medical examiner here. I want to show you where this area is because the exit ramp off of I-30 from Houston, straight ahead where you see those wrong way, do not enter signs. If this in fact is Maleah Davis's remains, it helps detectives fill in a 24-hour period of time about Darian's location that they've been baffled by since this case began 3 weeks ago. They know that on May 3rd, he was last seen with Maleah during the day, but they did not know where he went until 11:20 that following Saturday night when he showed up at Houston Methodist Hospital in Sugar Land. They say surveillance cameras caught him there being dropped off. If this is in fact Maleah's remains recovered here in Fulton, Arkansas, they now know that he would have come here during that period of time. The question remains how he got here, if someone else was involved, and who that person might be. We're live in Fulton. Larry Seward, KHOU 11 News.
That's the very latest in Arkansas. Larry, thank you.